you use heavy humor in everything that you want to convey. Why did you choose to take humor as a way to educate? I know it's a great tool, but then not many people in the medical fraternity use humor. They also used to be like humor in medicine and Reader's Digest back in the days. Those were really nice pearls that people found a little human aspect of medicine, because otherwise it can get very technical, it can get very strict. The laughter or the smile breaks that barrier and establishes trust. But you've taken humor completely to a different level of usage in your communications. Why?
I think I always had that within me, even with any kind of presentation. I usually had that humor at the end. But especially with medicine, it's similar to like any drama movie, right? So the drama movie gets successful only when there is humor interspersed in between.
Comedy piece.
Comedy piece, yeah, somewhere, like here, there, because only then the message is getting conveyed across. And I came to know about this because of my gastroenterology profession. Because if you look at it, many gastroenterologists will be funny. Because they have to break the ice with the patient, because we're talking about something embarrassing that the patient doesn't want to talk about. This is something that I have evolved during my gastroenterology practice, and social media just helped me along with the way. One thing I learned is I chose humor because it reaches people, and also it was making the thought process stay in their mind for a long time. For example, similar to how I said about the neuroplasticity, where you can develop new neurons in your brain in a good way, where you can develop the new habit. Similarly, that needs repetition. You need to keep on repeating, not only to yourself, you should be surrounded by an environment. So what I realized was in my social media, I say that, I'm completely against ultra processed foods, where it is damaging the gut and all those things. I will be the bad guy exhibiting that, okay, so you don't eat this, don't eat that, right? So the idea behind that is, if somebody keeps watching it, at least 50% of the people, at least they will think before going into the second round of the dessert. And that thought process itself is a huge success to me.
Because we hear everywhere, we look at the kind of visuals that we get from everywhere, or the messages that we've gotten from childhood. You need to look healthy, you need to eat well, you need to eat adequately. I think because we've had that subliminally for a very long period of time, the counter also has to happen in a loud way. Is that your philosophy?
Many people ask me that, why are you saying don't eat this, don't eat that, you should live life and everything. I completely agree, you should live life, you should enjoy it occasionally, but the occasion comes every occasion, that's a problem. But the point I'm trying to make here is that I am willing to be the bad guy. Okay, I'm willing to be the person who, okay, so this guy will say always like this. But if that makes you think the next time that you are ordering an ultra processed food, and if you're stopping with one serving, then that is my success. So many subscribers have told me that, when I look at a gulab jamun, I see your face of the gulab jamun.
Do we take that as a compliment? What do we say? Dr. Pal endorsed gulab jamun.
And I'm not even kidding, our subscriber actually, he took a video of this that happened in his kitchen. The husband comes home late at night and then looks for dinner. There is no dinner on the table. Okay, so he opens the refrigerator. In the refrigerator, there is a picture of mine. And it says, no food after 7 p.m.
Sure, the people are going to love you for this.
So there are two paths to it, right? One is I am considered as a strict father or a strict officer, right? And that guy basically, at least, he was doing a 10 p.m. dinner. He was able to, have that repetition in his mind and then made at least a little bit of a change. 9 p.m. was the change. But that 1 hour difference will make a huge impact on his gut health, which will in turn make his longevity better. So the point here is that we are at this, every adult who's listening to this conversation, we are at a stage where we are not accountable to anybody else at this time. We are at a stage where either you are an employer or you are at a very nice situation where you don't have to answer to a lot of people. And that is true, especially to your family, right? And but you have to answer to your health sometime or the other. So for that, accountability is what the change happens. And I'm so glad that my channel act as an accountability for a few people who actually take me as a strict officer and then try to change accordingly, which I'm very, very proud about. And there are a few people who absolutely hates me, for doing this, which I'm also liking it, because I know that even though they hate me, they are at the back of the mind, they know that, okay, there is some guilty feeling that is happening when they are eating more. So that is the target that I'm looking forward to, and I know that every time a small change happens, I will get a lot of good karma eventually, and eventually my life will be happy.
You are a lot on social media and the visual media. Have you ever thought of writing a book? One of the books that I really liked about medical humor is something called Haha Therapy by Dr. Lakshmipati, Coimbatore based. I think I was speaking about him earlier. I still recall, I still have the book, it should be somewhere here. I still recall the thing I realized the most when I read that book was that I wanted to have a specific way of connecting with people. I don't think I generally have a sense of humor. I'm fairly serious. So my way of connecting ended up being about what are they about? For example, if they come in for a treatment of a problem, I would always ask, how would achieving this help you in your journey? So over a period of time, in my consultation, I realized that at least some part of it is about connecting with them at a level where I see them as a person, or I see them as to how they will use whatever work that we do together. How will that add value? For you, the connect is about humor, so that it drives it into their mind that here is a person who's concerned, but then is using a route in a way that you will be remembered. For me, it's about, okay, I usually ask them, how will this serve you? What are you doing? How will you use this treatment in a way that you get benefits out of it? I think all of us find different cadences, but is there a book that is coming up?
We are writing a book.
Right.
It is about my journey in terms of how I was big before, and then how I lost my weight, and what are the things that helped me, and a few of the instances that that happened to me.
So who are you as a person?
I'm a person who uses humor as a weapon to protect myself.
Are you funny at home?
I'm very funny at home.
How do they put up with jokes? Do you really do good jokes all the time, or how do they put up with poor jokes?
My wife is also equally humorous.
Yeah, right.
So I think I'm blessed in that way. But I feel like I use humor as a weapon both for my patients and also in my professional career. Whenever there is a serious tone, I come up with something that breaks the ice. And they always have me in the room somewhere. Even I think I'm being treated as a side dish.
Comedy piece, you would say. Were you like this in college?
So 2000 to 2006 was PhD Medical College, and then 2006 I went to US. 2006 to 2008 is my Masters in Public Health. 8 to 11 is my MD General Medicine. 12 to 14 is my gastroenterology, and 14 to 15 is my advanced endoscopy. I'm a hepatobiliary endoscopist. I treat pancreatic cancer patients. I treat liver cancer patients. My English was not that good before. Even now it is not the best. But at that point of time, they were able to connect to me and, this guy is funny. And they always wanted me to do the procedures on them. Even though there are more experts than me, I always believe that no matter how expert you are in your field, as you said, if you're not able to get that trust and get that connect, there is no point.
Right. But did you get to do anything in humor in college? Did you
No,
get to do
no
extracurricular activities, no stage stuff, nothing at all? When did you discover that this is a part of
This was an accident. And in 2020, when COVID hit, I did a video which went viral. And all my venting out with my medical profession came in that video. So that's how I know that, so it was in me before. So I didn't even realize.
Do we see a bigger, now that the me is out, right? Does the me see a larger amplification?
So I didn't plan any of this, and I know that the universe has something for me eventually, but I'm just going with the flow.
Right. Okay. Tell us a little bit more about how you recharge. They say the people who make other people laugh are generally carrying a lot of angst within, carrying a lot of pain within. Does that apply to you?
That's really true. I have seen this in most of the stand-up comedy world, because I do stand-up comedy on the stage. Every comic has a very sad story behind. And as I said, they use comedy and humor as a weapon on the stage.
Pain relief mechanism.
Pain relief mechanism, or whatever it is. Personally, how I take care of myself is that I used to write scripts and I used to write jokes. And then if that hits me well, then I'm happy. And if it doesn't hit me well, I keep on working to get that joke right. So that is something that I always worked on.
You do most of your content yourself, or do you have a team?
Myself. Only the content mainly is myself. All the editing part, everything will be a team. Content you cannot replace at all.
Do you see yourself eventually having a bunch of people that help you with the content, or it's always going to be yours?
Eventually, yes, but as of now, it is only me.
And do you get Priel to happily be a part of it? Does she object to being a part of it, or
No, she loves it as well. And then she's even more funnier than me, so it is even better.
you got your entire family to act in some of your pieces?
Right.
How was it experience directing them?
It was fun. It was fun. My mom was very hesitant to start with, but now she's looking forward to it.
Do you see as a culture, earlier we were a little bit more inhibited, and now, even dancing, for example, you never used to really see that in most of the regional, events, for example, weddings, there wasn't a lot of dancing. But today we see that Sangeet is being, embraced, and people do dance in offices, there's all get-together, people dance. Do you think like that, people coming onto social media has also changed in the last few years? Like, for example, getting your mom to be part of your skit, so to speak. I'm not sure if this would have been acceptable to her, a couple of decades ago, where there was no such thing. Or how do you see this changing? Why is it changing, and how is it changing?
So I have a strong feeling that for addiction, and they are longing for something, and that is how people are longing for something in social media is what I always feel like. When somebody is seeing the other person reflecting their lifestyle, for example, I watch a lot of Tamil couples comedy skit. And we're able to relate to that because that is what is happening in our family as well. And somebody is pointing that out, we relate to them right away. So that change happened only in the last 4 or 5 years, where we are saying, okay, this is what is happening. Before it used to happen only in the Tamil Pattimandram that we see on stage, where we are able to relate to whatever they're saying because they're talking about what is happening in the life. And also the message gets conveyed across even better when they're able to relate more. And in that way, I think the advent of social media exposure is really good. But even though I'm very active in social media, I should tell people listening to this is there should be a control in your limit. So there is always two sides to it. One is a creative side, and another one's a consumption side. So creative side should be equal to consumption side.
Break this down for us, because I think this is such an important message about how we consume. Because even if you want to go and, sometimes I'm scheduling a post, but then in that I realize that I'm scheduling the post for about 3 minutes, but that whole interaction is about 15 minutes, of which 12 minutes is my consumption. Right. It's almost 4x than what I went to do. I'll say something, the post போட்டுட்டு வந்துடுறேன், then I'll be still there for the next 20 minutes, because and I realized came here to do something else. Right. So please break this down into this creation versus consumption, because that I think is a great message for the younger generation, because we were lucky to have a period where consumption itself was limited. I'm not talking only about social media. Everything was limited consumption that made us appreciate things so much more.
Everybody should have a timer of how much amount of social media you're using per day. So let's say you're 1 hour per day you're using. In that 1 hour, 30 minutes should be consumption. So you are, consuming what your favorite channel, your favorite thing, and all
yours
those
is couple shows.
A couple shows. Mine is stand-up comedy. Huh. Oh, I watch a lot of stand-up comedies. That is my go-to thing. And the remaining 30 minutes is you'll have to absorb what you just saw, right? So, for example, in my case, what happens is I watch stand-up comedy, then I will think about, okay, so nice lead up to the joke. That was a nice segue. How he would have thought about it. Oh, nice. Oh, he was able to interact with the audience that way. That is my interest, right? So, for example, a person listening to your podcast, they are coming to this podcast to get something out of this podcast, right? So, they can apply them to their health. For example, they look at the thumbnail between you and me, so they know that it is something about health. So, they're watching for an hour, okay? So, the biggest mistake that anybody can do is to just watch for an hour, consuming for an hour, and then just let it go.
Application.
That is the main problem. So you'll have to condense what you learned, and then you'll have to at least jot down on few points. Okay, so from tomorrow I'm going to do this. For example, we talked about Mount Jaro or weight, so lifestyle medicine. So let's say, okay, so somebody taking Mount Jaro, or maybe at least read about what Mount Jaro is, so that they can consolidate the memory. So that is what is called creation time. Creation is not only creating content, creating new knowledge to your brain as well is very important.
Assimilating all that you consumed.
Correct.
And trying to come up with theories in your head about how this can be applied, and to be able to reject or accept the theory.
Correct. Right? Correct. Based on what you believe in.
Yeah. We're still on the topic of social media. What would be some social media rules that you think youngsters should follow? We spoke about consumption and creation ratio, but what should be some general rules that you think youngsters should follow?
So, the Australian government has banned social media usage for teenagers less than 16 years of age. So they cannot
This
have
is official.
Facebook official from December 10th, 2025.
That's some good news to go back home, and that's some good news to take back home
So
because you
people
can tell
cannot
them.
do Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, nothing for 16 years and below. There was quite a big backlash, but majority it is a mixed positive review. Positive review. And the reason that is, I think I strongly believe in this is very, very critical is the mental maturity to handle the positive and negative is not there until 16 years of age. Some kids do, but majority don't. And we also need to understand that our brain is not able to handle different kind of emotions within a short span of time. The most important mistake that even adults are doing is before going to bed when we are watching reels, let's say like you start with one reel, you easily it takes like 20 minutes easily, right? So let's say that he's watching my reel. So let's say it's humor. Okay, done. Second, let's say he's taking a motivational reel, and that is a motivational emotion. And then watching you in skin, then it's a health emotion. That becomes a willpower emotion. And then watching any serious sad news. Let's say there was an accident or something like that. Then sad emotion. The prefrontal cortex will not be able to handle this much amount of emotions back to back within a span of 1 minute. So that will need a lot of mental bandwidth for the brain to handle that much amount of emotions. Only then they can release the appropriate neurotransmitters for you to feel the emotion. And what happens after 20 minutes is you just shut off and then you go to bed. And you are expecting all that activity to die down, have the melatonin come in, make sure that your growth hormone gets increased during the repair phase. All this needs to happen within quite a few span of time. That is where the major problem is. And that is where your brain gut axis is getting compromised for teenagers right now.
And the brain goes on and on and on trying to.
Correct.
It's like chewing, biting off more than you can chew, kind of a
Right.
thing. Likewise in food, like having too much that we can't process. Likewise, the amount of stimulation that you get. I think that's very important for us to have that age limit because I think the toolkit that we should have developed in the way we process, in the way we think, 16 is enough? Or even as
No,
adults,
16
we
is the
find it.
average.
Huh.
That's why I said, like a 12-year-old, a mentally mature kid will be able to handle which is positive and negative. Even an 18-year-old kid may not be able to handle, but 16 is the average.
Or a 40-year-old adult may find it, they may find it difficult to handle too much also.
Right. But at least they know the extreme negative side of it. You as teenagers, they don't talk to each other. There was a study that they said that even among friends, they talk only through text. And Snapchat is one of the most important thing that needs to be scrutinized somehow, where they do only snap all the time. They do snap online, they do snap offline. They snap you offline.
Snap at you offline.
Snap at you offline. That kind of emotional thing, your brain will not be able to handle, right? So what happens is, I'll tell you the long-term effect of it. So you watch the reels, 20 minutes, and then you go to bed. It takes 90 minutes for that activity to subside. So only that activity subsides, then your circadian rhythm kicks in again, and then it has to die down, right? But you are waking up around like 7 a.m. and your activity dies down only at like 1 a.m. Then it needs to, so the time allowed for your recovery is much less. When the time of recovery is much less over here, the first thing that gets affected is your gut. And the gut microbiome gets altered significantly. And how are you experiencing that effect? Not right away. That is the problem. It takes quite a bit of time. So in 6 weeks or 3 months, where your cravings starting to happen, and you're feeling more stressed than before because you do not have the mental bandwidth to handle that stress. So it is a vicious cycle. But the problem started in the 30 minutes before you go to bed.
So you said about 90 minutes. So at least for 90 minutes, you need to be off screen at least to help you.
Yeah, that's the ideal thing. But what I'm saying is a single amount of blue light exposure from your phone to your retina through your eyes delays the melatonin secretion by 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So then the circadian rhythm gets affected.
Yeah. It's almost like sometimes people think, but yeah, there was darkness and it was not like completely bright. People have the thought process that, we can fool our brain into believing otherwise, but the opsin receptors are like that. They can easily get stimulated. And what we learn about the skin in this whole exposome concept is that the skin also has clocks. There's a master clock, and then multiple peripheral organs also have clocks. So it is possible for the entire sensing to happen in more than one organ. So the effect of blue light or the effect of light that we're exposed to in general has very complex interplays. You mentioned something that you are not Superman,
Yes.
but you are Gutman.
Yes.
What is this Gutman channel about?
So, I used to start doing reels with the kids. Okay, the idea was take them to McDonald's, and then I did a reel with a little girl saying that, the WHO is limiting only 25 grams of sugar per day, and this whole boba tea that you have is easily 50 grams of sugar. And that little kid retaliated and said that instead of me cutting down to half a boba tea, why don't you ask WHO to increase the limit to 50 grams of sugar per day? Right? So that was able to be, all the kids were able to relate to it. Right? And I got many comments and responses from the parents is that after that reel, people are thinking twice, or at least taking one and then sharing it with their friend, right? So those kind of responses was very motivating to me that we can make changes at that young level, because first 10 years of life is so critical for your gut health. It's absolutely critical. That is where the gut-brain axis is being formed. Then I realized that, okay, so if I can reach out to kids, then my bigger purpose is being solved. So we have created a cartoon character called Gutman, where he will be teaching the kids and giving power to the kids in terms of
Like an Elmo from Sesame Street, or
like the Popeye show where he eats spinach. So Gutman the kid will
You will eat spinach.
curd.
You will eat curd.
And he will not me. The Gutman will not do anything.
So you are not acting in it.
No, I am the character, but the Gutman will teach the kid to use these powers so he can become the Gutman. Right? So that he doesn't have to rely on Gutman all the time. So the first episode will be like, the losing. And then the Gutman comes in, gives something, and he gets bigger. And then he gets successful in whatever his destiny
Initially
is.
it could be curd, but eventually it could be all the healthy stuff that we find so difficult to push onto our kids.
Correct. Something along those lines.
When is it out?
We are working on it, and it has come out beautifully. It has come out beautifully. So we just want to make sure that all the boxes are checked before it's released.
Fantastic. But then there is no entry into movies planned at any point in time.
No, I'm very happy.
I thought you enjoyed acting.
No.
I thought you enjoyed being in front of the camera.
No.
Oh, that's a perception. So
there were a couple of people who called me for a doctor role in a movie or something.
But you had to take up the pulse and said, I'm sorry.
Right. No, I said, congratulations, you're pregnant.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I didn't enjoy it at all.
Huh.
I didn't enjoy it at all. And I said, this is not for me. So yeah, of course not. Of course not. But I'll keep doing the next.
You do a lot of skits though.
Yeah, I do a reel with the kids. I love kids. I was supposed to take pediatrics. But I didn't take pediatrics because it is not very popular in the US.
Okay.
So that is why I chose internal medicine. So this is my way of doing pediatrics in a bigger way.
I also wanted to do pediatrics, but the first time, or maybe in internship when we were trying to get a line on a baby, I was sent out saying, that ended my pediatrics thought process. So, and I also am jealous of you that you got to do community health. It's one of the specialties that I really wanted to. I almost joined right after MBBS. I almost joined community health, but couldn't really get myself the I couldn't fulfill the requirements. There was no hostel, and I had to get a local guardian. It was Lady Harding, Delhi. I just couldn't manage to do that, and then I took dermatology because it's the closest to general medicine and community medicine.
Right.
And why did you not want to stay on in community health? Because now with Gutman, with Numi, you're trying to do population medicine.
Right. So this incident really changed my perspective, I was doing a stand-up comedy show, Manickam show in Austin. Okay, in Austin, this lady came up to me and then she said that she was pretty obese for the last like 10-15 years since she moved to the US, and she was a housewife and she was not taking care of the kids, and she went into depression because she was so talented, and because of my videos or something, she started following the 7 p.m. dinner like so diligently, and she started noticing so many changes and she got her mood back. She's applied for a state government job and then she was actually showing her paycheck to me that this is my first paycheck and this is because of you, right? So I was thinking, I'm in Sacramento, she's in Austin. Nowhere I would have ever seen her. And similar to this, I have so many other stories, right? So if I can treat one patient in my office in Sacramento, that patient's family get better. But if I can change many patients' lives,
Modified butterfly effect.
so that amount of satisfaction I never got while I was treating a single patient. And they will say, "Oh, thank you, doctor, you're awesome, thank you," and everything. Right? So, yes, of course, it was nice. But for some reason, I get even more elated when a person I don't even know comes and tells me that, "Can I take a selfie with you? I lost weight because of you." Is a next level dopamine effect.
That's true.
So that is why I split my time, 6 months over there in the US and 6 months over here in India, where I'll be expanding this new me clinic to a bigger community health angle.
I think we do talk about the negatives of social media, but at times social media can be a big touch of gratitude for being able to connect to people that really matter.
Right.
Being able to find your own tribe.
Right. Own tribe is very critical.
It's very
yeah.
important. Yeah. What if someone, what if Facebook Meta went down for 6 months? What should your followers, what should be 3 things that your followers should never forget from after having watched your videos?
So always I say like 3 7s, right? 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. is your active time, your eating time, your active time, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 hours of sleep, and then 7 minutes of meditation per day. If you do all these 7, in Tamil சொல்ல இந்த 7ஐயும் பண்ணீங்கன்னா உங்க வாழ்க்கையில 7 இருக்காதுன்னு.
You do a fair bit of, almost quietly, a fair bit of community outreach and help. Is it because of the community medicine background, or tell me more about it?
Thank you for asking. I was not like this before. Okay, I was always self-oriented. I was always wanting to see, okay, how I can succeed, how I can earn money, me, my family. Always it was like that. So that's why I went to US just for money's sake. That's the main thing, because we are a middle class family. We're not able to even afford 1 lakh per year for my PhD medical seat. So I went to BITS Pilani for 3 months and then I came back because the free medical seat was upgraded at that time. So at that point of time, money was very important for me. So I went to 2006 over there and my whole focus was only money. Okay, and then I earn, do good practice and then earn money. I'll settle down in the US and then maybe come back to India later if after settling down everything. So after then I got married. Again, my mindset didn't change. Then I got my full-time job. My mindset didn't change. Again, I was just seeing how I can invest, how I can get more money. So we ended up having, I've told this in social media multiple times, so our pregnancy story was very, not very easy. So we had like 7 miscarriages. And after that,
7 miscarriages.
The 7th one actually literally changed our thought process, where pregnancy was good, everything was nice, and 5th month, 6 months when we were doing ultrasound, the baby didn't have legs or hands. And Priyad have to deliver that baby because it is beyond 22 to 23 weeks, and we were in Detroit at the time, and the state rule is that you cannot abort after 21 weeks or 20 weeks. Then we have to move to a different state, and we crossed that date as well because insurance didn't cover. So she has to actually deliver a baby who was not alive, and we had the baby with no arms, no legs, no life around like 6th month, right? So then we did all the analysis and all those things, and then we figured out that it was a chromosome abnormality and all those things. Now we are so blessed with 2 beautiful baby boys, right? But that incident completely changed my perspective. So from that incident onwards, I always thought that we were fortunate enough to be able to afford And that baby didn't, I mean, in one way it was good that it didn't survive to go through all the details. So since then, I always had a thing that, okay, so far I've lived my life for ourselves. So what can I do to give it back to a community in this field? So we opened up a Dr. Pal Foundation in the US, and we said that, there are many people like this who will not have answers. So you reach out to us, and we will be able to connect you with the research institute in UCLA, where they do genetic analysis of all these specimens that they collect all over from the world. You will not believe, once I opened up, I got 72 samples all over the world, 72 samples of similar situation. And we were able to help them out as well. So then we said that, okay, so this is working, so we will have to expand this even more. What if the kid has a disability and what they were not able to afford? So we opened up a free school for these kids with disability and autism, and it's called Punnagai Pookal in Madurai, where we have like 50 kids with autism, with delayed speech, with intellectual impairment, and we have like specially educated teachers and everything. And it takes around like 8 lakhs to run that school per month, right? So all my YouTube revenue it's not that big. People think I make a lot of money on YouTube. It's not that much. It's a little bit. That revenue has been transferred to this school, and it is running very well. And people think that I make a lot of money on YouTube. That's not true at all. I make a lot of money with my profession and on YouTube. But whatever money that I make on YouTube, we channel that into this non-profit organization. But the beauty is that people trust me. People are willing to donate, but we want to make sure that their money is not being misused. So the trust that I've developed on social media has been transferred to all these little kids. So everybody is like win-win situation. And Government of Tamil Nadu has awarded the best NGO for our NGO in Madurai last year. So that scaled up our thing. So we are going to accommodate 50 more kids in the school. So that is one thing that really has come out very good out of this whole social media thing. People who are listening to this podcast, if they want to donate, they can choose any particular day, like a birthday, anniversary or something, and it's 7,000 rupees per meal for all the kids. We also have another elderly nursing home. We treat cancer patients as well. So it's $100. It's not a big thing for them, but it'll be like a good teaching opportunity for the kids to see what exactly happens on the other side, and also make sure that the empathy is being instilled in the kids right from the young age. Because what I'm anticipating 10 years from now is they will not need money to survive. They will need mental maturity to survive.
That's true. That's definitely true. I remember being exposed to giving as a child. Like I forget the foundation's name, but my dad used to support children's education, and that was very instrumental. As later on, when I started the NGO for kids also, that later on, it's no longer, I'm not active anymore, and also my journey to go to Doctors Without Borders, the spark had to come at a very, very young age. So what you're doing is not just for now, but then there's a generation of kids that are going to be exposed, ability to give.
Right.
Eventually, they say that all that we give is to satisfy a need within ourselves.
Right.
To make sure that we are serving our purpose, to be able to give that validation to ourselves that we are here for a purpose.
Right.
So to be able to give that experience to a child who now feels good about helping others.
Right.
I think that's future social capital.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
There are things that actually break people when stuff happens to them, and then there are people that build on these misfortunes to deliver more value to the society. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.